This is one of those truly iconic, and I don't use the word lightly, acoustic guitar songs, well worth getting to grips with. The original guitar part, which I'm pretty sure is Paul Simon. I've had a look around for other credits on the album, and at that point I'm fairly sure it's Paul Simon playing the guitar. If someone wants to put me right, I'd be very glad to hear otherwise. He plays with a capo, whoever it is, on the 7th fret, as if he were in A minor. That puts us in the original key of E minor, of course, so this is our A minor here. Would sound like an E minor to anyone else. We'll have a look at the basic chords first of all, and some maybe more generic picking ideas before we tackle the original picking, which is quite challenging. We've got 3 beats in the bar, and there are 4 lines, and there are kind of odd numbers of bars in those lines, but it goes like this. We have 2 bars of A minor, a bar of G, and 2 bars of A minor. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Okay, and right away, there are a couple of things we can do. In the G bar, I'm playing my G like this. I'm in the habit of playing my G without the first finger. I play it with 2nd and 3rd fingers down on the bottom string, 4th finger on the top string. That means that I can move my 1st and 2nd fingers to play as if they were in a C chord. Okay, so 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, just in the middle of that G bar. So we have, are you going to Scarborough? It's C over G, which is really low-hanging fruit if you're playing a G and want to give it that folky feel. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Anyway, let's crack on. We've got a bar of C, parsley, A minor again, sage, too high for me, never mind. Then we've got a beat of C and 2 beats of D, rosemary, and now it's 4 bars of A minor, thyme. So that section, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Now, we've got another bar of A minor and a bar of C. Remember me. And then we've got stepwise 1 beat each of this C, a G over B, so basically a G chord but missing out the bottom string, and I'm playing with my little finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, so I get this nice step down to A minor, and then G for 2 bars. Remember me to one who lives there. And actually, in the original, we get more of that C over G business. We'll look at that in more detail when we look at the original picking. Then it's A minor, G. She once was a true love of mine. And again, 4 bars of A minor. So let's have the whole thing in its simplest form. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. Okay, a little detail that happens a couple of times, even with the simple strumming. As we move to the lines that begin with a C chord, or move to a C chord, move up from the A minor via a note on the 2nd fret of the 5th string to C. So for instance, from the 1st line to the 2nd, are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, and so on. There's another one as well. Remember me. And in the original picking, that actually happens. Remember me. So it's just a little run up from the A minor, passing bass note, B to the C chord. In fact, if you wanted to apply a generic picking to this with 3 beats in the bar, maybe something like this. That's thumb. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I've got my 3 fingers on the top 3 strings. First finger on the 3rd string, second finger on the 2nd string, 3rd finger on the top string, and my bass is wherever it's going to be. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And there, where I've only got 1 beat on the C, I'm just going to pick multiple strings. Rosemary and thyme. Remember me to one who lives. And again, I just want to pick out multiple strings where I've got 1 chord per beat. And you can hear on that C, if I pick both the 5th string and the top string, then as I move to the G over B, my top note moves to the 2nd string. Then I get this kind of harmonized melody. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. Sorry, that's 2 bars of G there, isn't it? So there's loads of stuff you can do without even getting into the original picking. Bits of hammer-ons, little bass runs and so on, whether you're strumming or picking. With strumming, that's an obvious thing to do for the A minor. Take off the 2nd and 3rd fingers and move them back on. Or any note, really. All this kind of stuff, and if you incorporated that into some picking, make it your own. You know, you could learn the original tab, and I have done, and we'll go through that in a moment, but it might be a bit more useful, a bit more personal, just to kind of play whatever you would. And if I were being asked to do this in a kind of a sing-song or an open mic or a little recording session or in the classroom, I probably would do something more like that rather than all the original stuff. But we'll take a look at that now. Now, I've written out the original guitar part in tab, and I'll put that up on the screen in a moment. Apart from the various verses, there's also a 7-bar intro. I mustn't forget to show you that. And I'll talk through it in some detail, which might be a bit dull. And maybe the best thing is to get yourself a copy of the original guitar part in tablature and work through it for yourself. But the arrangement revolves around this chord here, really, which is 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string. I'm calling this A minor 13. You'll see this written as D add 9 add 4 over A and all sorts of things. But it's this chord. This chord comes from Martin Carthy's arrangement of Scarborough Fair, which he showed to Paul Simon in '65. He also met Dylan when Dylan came over in 1962 and showed Dylan his arrangement of Scarborough Fair. And in my big Dylan book, I've written an essay at the front on Dylan's guitar style as it formed in the 60s, and there's a little section on this chord which has particular meaning for Dylan. He incorporated it very quickly into Girl from the North Country and then Boots of Spanish Leather, both of which he wrote in Italy, actually, one day after the next. I think Boots of Spanish Leather was written the day after he wrote Girl from the North Country, both of them when he was pursuing his girlfriend Suze, who had been sent to Italy by her mother to get away from Dylan, frankly. And this is really the sound. You don't hear it in any other Dylan songs, and it's really the sound of his heartbreaking. I think it has a particular poignant quality, but here it is in this song, and it happens a lot. So you want to get this chord followed by this chord, which is, I'm calling that A minor add 9. So once you've got these two chords under your fingers, you'll be halfway there, because pretty much everything else is stuff that we've already looked at in our simpler arrangement. Now the actual picking is this. This is for the A minor 13. I'm using my thumb on the 5th and 4th strings and my 3 fingers as normal on the top 3 strings. That's the idea. And then when we go to the A minor add 9, it's the same thing. So it's worth getting those two under your fingers just to get that more of a knack. Now, the 7-bar intro begins with this shape, the A minor 13. Then we add a finger here, like a C shape displaced by 2 frets, and do the same thing. So all together. Then we get a C major 7, dropping to a B in the bass, that's just that. And then we get our 2 chords again, twice more each. So the whole of the intro. And we carry on in similar vein. Those 2 chords repeat for the beginning of the verse. Are you going to? Then we have G with G sus4. So just get that under your fingers. And back again to our 2 chords. So the whole of the first line. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? In the second line we begin with our C. And then a straight A minor. And then our bar that's got both a C and a D in it. Okay, and then back to our 2 chords for 4 bars. And that's half of it. So from that point, slowly. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Sage, rosemary, and thyme. Now in the third line we begin with a bar of A minor going to a bar of C with that passing bass note up. Remember me to, and then we get our descending pairs with an open 3rd string in between. Finishing off the bar of G with that C over G into a pull-off, and then again in the second bar of G, 1 beat on the C shape, open 2nd and 4th, down to the open bottoms, the 3rd fret on the bottom string. Remember me to one who lives there. And the 4th line, A minor for a bar, 2 bars of G and 2 bars of A minor, which of course is our familiar shapes. And it's like this. She once was a... Okay, that's our little C over G kind of thing again. She once was a... And we finish with... That's a hammer on and a pull off. So the whole of the verse, very slowly. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember Okay, let's have a playthrough. 1, 2, 3. And that's it.